Absolura. Pursue it.
Several law enforcement agencies across the nation have faced struggles when it comes to finding new recruits. Now, recognizing this, the Dayton Police Department held a recruitment event this afternoon to help fix that issue. Eli Burgett was there. Eli, what are they hoping to accomplish with this?
Well, the DPD is hoping to draw in new recruits with a variety of benefits that the department is offering. This is including the new pay increase that was recently approved. The officers that I talked to today say that their job can be challenging, but also incredibly rewarding.
It's important because we do have a hiring shortage for the last couple of years. So getting out to the community here in Dayton, abroad, allow us to relay that information to the public.
Like many other law enforcement entities, the Dayton Police Department has struggled to find staffing for their new recruits. However, with a variety of benefits, including the new pay increase for 2025, the department is hoping to draw in a diverse group of capable candidates. Officers can now make anywhere from $74,000 to $85,000 per year, on top of the satisfaction of protecting and serving their community. Coming up at 6:30 on Fox 45, a deeper dive into the police shortage and what the DPD is doing to fix this problem. Back to you.
Eli, thank you. A man is in the hospital tonight recovering after a shooting near West 3rd Street. Police say it happened just before 11:30 this morning when a man walked into the fire station saying he was shot. Now he's taken to Miami Valley Hospital. We're working to learn the extent of the injuries, what led up to this. As soon as we learn anything new, we'll update you here on air and online. All right, let's give you a live look from our Eco Plumber Sky Cam tonight. Pretty cloudy evening as you step outside, Natalie.
Yeah, I got some showers popping up too. In fact, it looks like you could possibly see that. That was over Miamisburg. A little bit of a shower that's making its way through the Miamisburg area right now, just south of Dayton, heading into New Lebanon. We also have a little pocket of rain. So thankfully, nothing severe this evening. We have seen a couple of stronger storms, even some wind damage reported up in Shelby County earlier, which we do have another line of some showers pushing through. Could have a few gusty winds, but otherwise just some rain expected with this, making its way through parts of Darke County as well. Greenville, you're about to get some rain, and it's very warm. We're hanging out in the 80s. We got 80 in Dayton, 80 in Troy, 81 in Richmond. Dew points, it's still really sticky out there, hanging out in the 70s and 60s, but we got some nice weather on the way. So a cold front is making its way through. This will eventually drop our temperatures. We're going to drop to 60 overnight. Have a look at the rest of the week coming up in just a bit.
Live look now in Milwaukee as day 3 of the Republican National Convention is underway. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance will deliver the headline speech, his first since joining the ticket with Donald Trump. Atra El-Nashar is in the convention room with a preview.
This is arguably the most important night of J.D. Vance's budding political career. With less than 2 years in the U.S. Senate under his belt, a lot of folks still don't know much about him or what he's bringing to the Republican ticket. At just 39 years old, some I've spoken to here say Vance now seems poised to lead the next generation of the MAGA movement. It's night 3 of the RNC. The theme, Make America Strong Once Again, focusing on national security and America's status on the world stage. Before Pfizer Forum fills up with supporters and delegates from across the country, Vance getting a feel for the stage where he'll be formally introduced as the GOP 2024 vice presidential nominee. Seen here huddling with Donald Trump Jr., Vance now officially part of the former president's inner circle, less than 4 months until Election Day. Once a fierce Trump critic, Vance now mirrors Trump, so much so that some Republicans are starting to see him as Trump's possible successor.
And in a way, it looks like it's a pretty clear passing of the torch. You know, if this is, in his opinion, the person who is best suited to take Trumpism, whatever that might be.
MAGA movement.
Yeah, and move it forward.
And the Biden campaign agrees, calling Vance a, quote, rubber stamp for Trump's extreme agenda.
And make no mistake, J.D. Vance will be loyal only to Trump, not to our country. He supports a national abortion ban and voted against protecting IVF.
We're learning Vance and the vice president have spoken. She congratulated him, and they agree they should debate, but still have to work out the terms. In Milwaukee, I'm Atra El-Nashar.
And as Atra mentioned, tonight, Vice President candidate J.D. Vance is going to speak to the nations for the first time. Lydia Bice sat down with experts on what they think he will and should discuss. What'd they tell you?
That's right. So Christopher Devine, an associate professor of political science at the University of Dayton, said he thinks J.D. Vance will focus on two different topics. One, his introduction, helping Americans better understand who he is as a person. Two, why voters should re-elect Donald Trump.
He's familiar with a lot of the struggles that some folks go through, and that's part of his appeal. That's something I think you can expect him and the Republican campaign to really talk about a lot as a way of connecting to voters, especially people who are struggling in tough economic times.
Now, we reached out to local Democrats and Republicans about J.D. Vance and his speech tonight. We received the following statement from the Ohio Democratic Party saying in part, quote, "In Ohio, we've had a front row seat for J.D.'s political career, so here's what the country needs to know. J.D. Vance is an out-of-touch millionaire who launched his political career by taking advantage of Ohio's opioid crisis and has spent his time in the Senate humiliating himself in the service of a convicted felon instead of working to improve the quality of life for Ohioans." End quote. We also heard from Republican State Representative Phil Plummer. He said, quote, "I believe that Senator/VP candidate Vance should talk about these four very important issues. One, securing our border and immigration issues. Two, high costs of living and inflation. Three, emergency independence and gas prices. Four, unifying our country. I believe these are critical issues which all Americans can support. These failed Biden policies have really hurt the middle class." Back to you.
Lydia, thank you. The mayor of Milwaukee reacting now to the deadly police-involved shooting yesterday, less than a mile from the RNC. Now, officers from Columbus shot and killed a man suspected of wielding knives. Milwaukee's police chief said at least 5 officers from Columbus fired shots at him. Mayor Cavalier Johnson says he never wants to see loss of life.
Anytime there's a loss of life, you know, that's a tragic thing. Like, I don't want to see anybody be hurt. Whether it's, you know, somebody in our community, whether it's somebody here, I never want to see that.
Now, Johnson says the Milwaukee team will take the lead on the investigation. He also says he's been in contact with the mayor of Columbus. The Department of Homeland Security opening its own investigation into the Secret Service and the breakdown that led to the attempted assassination of former President Trump. Kayla Gaskins has an update.
We're also learning prior to the Pennsylvania assassination attempt, the Secret Service had already increased protection around Trump due to what appears to be a totally separate but credible assassination plot by Iran. CNN pressing Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle.
How, knowing that there was a credible threat against the former president, how could that perimeter be so small that it excluded a building just 150 yards away from the podium?
I can't get into the specifics of any threats. But this is also why we are doing an internal review, and we look forward to the external review as well. And obviously, if you know, there are things that we need to change about our policies or our procedures or our methods, we are certainly going to do so.
New details from the day emerging. The suspect reportedly told his boss he needed Saturday off, but would be back to work on Sunday.
Security first spots the shooter at 3 p.m. He then passes through security with a rangefinder, which isn't a weapon, but does get security's attention. He then leaves the secure area, and this is when security loses sight of him. Moments before opening fire, civilians spot him on the roof and alert police. The counter snipers then see him, but they can't fire first.
It makes me infuriated. It's hard to believe a big building that size, 130 yards away from a podium, from an elevated position. You don't need to be a security expert to realize that you might want to have somebody up there.
The House Oversight Committee now sending a subpoena to Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle to ensure she shows up on Capitol Hill next Monday for public testimony. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
It's now been 23 years, nearly 23 years, since a bride-to-be vanished just 3 weeks before her wedding day. Now, more than 2 decades later, we are investigating what happened to 28-year-old Nikki McCowan. She was last seen at a laundromat in Richmond, Indiana on July 22, 2001. 5 months after, Nikki's car was found in an apartment complex here in Dayton. But to date, Nikki has never been found, and while police had 3 viable suspects, they still don't know what happened to her. Our podcast team spent a year going over documents, evidence, interviewing detectives and those closest to Nikki. One of those people was Nikki's daughter, Peyton, who was only 9 when her mother vanished. Peyton is now an adult in her 30s with a daughter of her own.
Nicolette was just something that my aunt called my mom, and I just knew that that was something that I would eventually like to tribute to my mother. And from what I hear, Nicolette is similar to my mom in her spunkiness and things like that as a child. So it's good to know that the name holds weight.
Now, the season trailer for Missing Nikki McCowan is out right now. The first 2 episodes of that podcast will be released on July 22nd. You can scan the QR code on your screen, and you can download or search for Missing Nikki McCowan in Apple, Spotify, or whatever podcast platform you use. Make sure you subscribe to the series too, so you always know when a new episode is available. Well, after years of construction, Fairborn now has a new high school. We get a look at the school as they prepare for students next month. And one Miami Valley native will represent Team USA in the Paris Olympics. Matt Digby spoke with her about how she hopes to medal in rowing.
Plus, I'm tracking a cold front making its way through. How much cooler we'll get behind the front, that's coming up. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
$8.99 at Bob Evans Farmhouse Kitchen.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Up to 11 inches of rain fell overnight in northern Arkansas, flooding roads and buildings, including a nursing home. Dozens of residents had to evacuate. There was also at least one water rescue of a person from an RV. Cleanup continues in New York State after a rare tornado caused widespread damage in Rome and other communities, while the same system turned the skies near Portland, Maine, electric.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
Today, the Fairborn City School District celebrating their brand new high school. Future students, families, and community leaders all came out to see the new 200,000 square foot building. Kasha Hancock joining us now live from Fairborn. This project was years in the making. How are people feeling about it?
Yes, the district says they're extremely excited about welcoming students into the new space when they return to class next month. The new high school has so many new amenities to make learning more enjoyable. The new space includes an auditorium that can seat over 1,000 people, dressing rooms for the performing arts department, and a larger space for band and chorus students. Alumni of Fairborn High School say it's amazing to see how much the school has grown, and they're proud current students can benefit from the changes. Faculty and staff say they're honored to be a part of this important moment in Fairborn's history and cannot wait to share the building with the rest of the community.
From the Fairborn Board of Education, Superintendent Lawley and Associate Superintendent Amy Gayhart. I'm looking forward to an amazing year with the Fairborn community and the students.
Students also say they're looking forward to a fun-filled year utilizing the space. Coming up later tonight, we'll take a closer look at what the $90 million project and what the state-of-the-art facility has to offer. Back to you.
Well, it was another pretty muggy day out there. We got some showers developing yet again across the Miami Valley, but those will be heading out of here shortly, and we actually have some pretty nice weather to look forward to. So this is what we're tracking. High pressure is going to be making its way in, and high pressure keeps things quiet, keeps things calm, and also at the start of it brings some low humidity in play, and that's what we're going to be tracking. So Thursday through Sunday, low humidity in the forecast, very pleasant conditions, sunshine. We do eventually see temperatures climb, but our next couple of days looking pretty nice and below normal. So we got a front pushing its way through, still a few lingering showers around, but there is that high pressure that I'm talking about. That will be sliding its way in, bringing us some really nice weather over these next several days. So those showers clear out overnight. We'll be dropping into the lower 60s and perhaps even some upper 50s across the area. So nice, comfortable start to the day tomorrow. Upper 70s for tomorrow afternoon. That's with lots of sunshine. Heading into our Friday, we start out the day with temperatures that will be hanging out around 60 degrees, some upper 50s again. So that will be below normal for this time of the year. And then check it out, sunshine for our Friday, looking really nice. Temperatures back into the 80s, but we do eventually see those temperatures climb. Saturday, we will see those temperatures back into the mid 80s across the area. So as far as rainfall totals go, really not anticipating much for the rest of this evening, maybe about a 100th of an inch or so with a shower or two making its way in, but I'll have a look at our next 7 days coming up.
A story now from our partners at the Dayton Business Journal tonight. A local nonprofit has received $500,000 from the state for facility renovations. East End Community Services is using the funds to renovate its East End Whole Family Services Hub facility. Now, the renovations will add approximately 17,500 square feet to the space on Xenia Avenue. The project expected to be complete by early next year. And if you'd like to read more about it, you can go to Dayton247now.com. This story and others like it are under the Dayton Business Journal heading in the News tab.
Good evening, I'm Matt Digby. This is the Bob's Discount Furniture Sports Desk. Last week, you heard from Molly Bruckerman, a Dayton native who will row for Team USA in the Paris Olympics. This is her first Olympic appearance, but she's had success on a global stage. She won a World Championship gold in 2018 in the women's 4 events. However, she'll be only competing in the women's 8 races, but Bruckerman says switching between the different categories is common, and she discusses what she can expect rowing in an 8-person boat.
It just moves a lot faster, so it's really exciting, but it can make it really hard to get up to speed and maintain the speed. It's a lot of coordination of movements because you have a lot more athletes in the boat, and we have a coxswain as well, so it's a little bit heavier of a boat. We tend to row in a lot of different boat classes throughout the year, primarily in the pair, which is only 2 people. So we are constantly moving around in boat classes, so it wasn't too much of a reach to be put in the 8.
And the first heat of the women's 8 competition scheduled for Monday, July 29th in Paris. Meanwhile, back here in the Miami Valley, just a handful of days until the Dayton Regional of the basketball tournament. Red Scare, that's the team of mostly UD basketball alumni, will play its first round game at 5 o'clock Saturday against a team from St. Louis. Right after that game Saturday, Carmen's Crew will be in action. That's the team of mostly Ohio State alumni. And if Red Scare and Carmen's Crew both win Saturday, they'd face each other in the second round on Monday night. MLS season continues tonight. Both Ohio teams at home. FC Cincinnati trying to extend their lead in the Supporters Shield while putting this weekend's loss to Charlotte behind them. Speaking of Charlotte, they're in Columbus tonight. The Crew going for a 6th straight win. That's the latest from the Bob's Discount Furniture Sports Desk. I'm Matt Digby.
Well, kids of all ages, they need the right tools to make the most of their education, and that is why we are partnering with Crayons to Classrooms all next week to provide school supplies for local students as they head back to class. Help us stuff the bus. We're going to have a bus parked right outside our Miamisburg studio ready for your donations.
Well, we got to 90 degrees yesterday. We stayed in the 80s today, but so far for the year, we've seen 9 90-degree days. So more than last year, I should say, but still away from our yearly average of 14.2. That being said, we still have the rest of July, August. To get through September, even October has seen some 90-degree days as well. So I do think we will see eventually some more, but it doesn't look like, at least in our next 7 days, that we will. Here's our next 5 days. Upper 70s for our Thursday, 80 on Friday. We do get back into the mid-80s by Monday. A little bit more humid as well, so we'll start to feel a little bit more sticky, but overall lower humidity will be coming into play. Notice those dew points again, 60s and 70s. So where we're sitting right now, it's just very humid. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, refreshing to just comfortable dew points. So it's feeling pretty nice as we head into the end of this week. I'll talk about our 7-day forecast coming up in a bit.
Local restaurants collaborating to bring customers the best of both worlds. Coming up, we have a look at the delicious combination from Wits and Bill's Donuts. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Millionaire tonight on ABC.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Local restaurants coming together to make some delicious creations. Tej Joshi shows us all the goodies.
WED's Frozen Custard in Centerville is a great local spot to grab a frozen treat. They have great vibes in here with a very cool dining area. And of course, they serve delicious custard with that velvety taste to it. It's a very cool experience to come here and get a frozen treat in the summertime. You're gonna get it by the quart, by the pint, or you can get the fresh stuff that they make every morning right behind me. But what I want to tell you about today are some of the local partnerships they're doing. The team here at WED has partnered with other Centerville staples like Bill's Donuts and Boston Stoker, and that's what I want to highlight for you right now. This is their collaboration with Bill's Donuts. This is the big news. Actually, our friend Emma, who you can see over my shoulder, she makes this fresh every morning. It's with a Bill's Donuts sour cream donut, and it's mixed in with that delicious velvety vanilla custard, and you can get this sweet treat right here that I have in my hand. It often sells out here, but if you want to try it sometime this summer, stop into WED's over in the Centerville area. It could be just the right delicious experience that you and the family need. My friends, for now though, back to you in the studio.
Well, tracking some very pleasant weather over these next several days. So if you want to hit the pool, looking great. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, just picture perfect days. Temperatures upper 70s, lower 80s, low humidity, lots of sunshine though. So keep that in mind. Tomorrow, our UV index is 8.8, so very high. Just takes between 15 to 25 minutes to get a burn. So make sure you are wearing that sunscreen if you are heading out there over these next several days. Looking good through the weekend, but starting off next week, we will see some storm chances. It looks like late Monday and then into Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll be tracking the chance for some showers, thunderstorms, temperatures back into the mid 80s and a little bit more humid, but overall